Because the news of this has been some more.
It's CBC News.
There's secret work.
I'm Joe Cummings. The ongoing delays in April, 200 protesters faced off with police today in Kathmandu, Nepal. They blocked traffic and demanded the government step up its efforts to help the victims of Saturday's earthquake. Now, a Canadian Forces transport plane carrying relief supplies and an advance crew from the military's disaster assistance team has now landed in Kathmandu. 31 Canadian soldiers are on that flight. The number of dead in Nepal has now topped 5,000, with more than 1 million people believed to be in need of food, water, or shelter. The governor of Maryland is saying 2,000 National Guard troops and 1,000 police officers successfully maintained a strict crew curfew overnight in the city of Baltimore. There was just one major confrontation. Police used tear gas to disperse about 200 protesters, and in the end, 10 arrests were made. The city will today attempt to return to normal with schools reopening, and the Baltimore Orioles playing their first game at Camden Yards after 2 games were postponed this week. However, the curfew will still be in effect, and no fans will be allowed to attend the game. Only the Orioles and the Chicago White Sox will be allowed in the ballpark. As the Mike Duffy trial continues in Ottawa, there's evidence that appears to suggest the suspended senator had concerns about his residency status from day one. Whether Duffy is eligible to represent Prince Edward Island as a senator is one of the many issues raised by the Crown in this case. CBC's Rosemary Barton reports.
Day after day, Mike Duffy arrived at court to fight his criminal case related to the alleged fraud during his time as senator of Prince Edward Island. But sources tell CBC News Duffy was concerned about his appointment as a senator for PEI from the get-go, and even suggested to Prime Minister Stephen Harper he represent Ontario instead, given everyone knew he hadn't lived in PEI for decades. Sources say Harper refused and insisted it be PEI. Duffy clearly relented. CBC News has pieced together the evidence filed in court. What emerges is the picture of a senator scrambling to deal with the fallout of his decision.
That is CBC's Rosemary Barton in Ottawa. Depending on where you bank, it looks like you should prepare yourself for a new round of service fee increases. And the country's biggest bank is leading the way. CBC's Rosa Marcatelli reports.
Elaine Murray and her husband Gordon have been RBC customers for 20 years. It took one envelope in the mail the other day to get the Nova Scotia couple thinking about changing that. Inside, details on fee increases.
I opened up the flyer and it was just, what? I couldn't believe it.
On June 1st, Canada's biggest bank is introducing new or higher fees for a variety of accounts and transactions. The first thing the Murrays noticed is a new $1 to $5 charge for each mortgage fee.
It looked like double dipping when I saw that we could be paying, on top of our interest, a fee for making mortgage payments.
RBC is also adding fees to children's accounts and loan payments. RBC says the new fees reflect the cost of doing business. The bank hopes that customers will only be charged to the additional fees on kids' accounts, mortgages, and loans if they exceed the number of free debit transactions per month. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Calgary.
Jack Ellie, the lead singer of the Kingsmen, has died at the age of 71. With Ellie on lead vocals, that's the Kingsmen in the 1963 hit Louie Louie. It's now considered a rock and roll classic that's been recorded by everyone from Led Zeppelin and Iggy Pop to John Belushi and John Lennon. Ellie left the Kingsmen shortly after the record was released and would eventually walk away from the music business for a career as a horse trainer in Oregon. And that is the CBC News to this hour.